Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. Listen, we're going to jump right in today. I'm excited about it. I'm really going to deal with a topic, but I got a biblical question for you all before we get started. Y'all ready?
Yeah.
Y'all ready for the biblical question?
Yep.
All right. So, in the beginning, in Bereshit, in Genesis chapter 1, 2, 3, right? We see the creation story. In chapter 3, we see a serpent, right? You guys remember? It was subtle, right? It was more guile than any beast, right, that was ever there. And what happened in that story? We see that this is the fall of mankind. And the Most High said, surely, right, in the day that you eat of this fruit, you shall what? Surely die. My question to you, biblical scholars, today, as we get started, is did man die in that day? Think about it before you shout an answer. Did man die that day?
Spiritual death?
Did man die that day?
Yes or no? Yes.
It's yes or no.
Yes or no?
Did man die that day?
Yes.
One says yes. I see head nods no. All right, here's how we doing. How many of you guys say yes, man did die that day? Raise your hand. So let's see. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. How many say no, he did not die that day? I got 1, 2, 3. Say he did not. How many of you guys are undecided? Online? All right. So again, we all hear that. We asked that question. How many of you died? How many believe we died that day? So there's some people that didn't raise their hand, obviously, right? Here's what we got to say. Did man die that day?
This meeting is being recorded.
Oh, okay. So with that being said, this is going to be notated. Did man die that day? Because the Most High says, surely the day that the man should eat of the fruit, partake of it, right? The forbidden fruit, that they would surely die. Here's the question. Is he a man that he should lie?
No.
So did man die?
Yes.
The answer is, yes, he did die that day. Why? Because a day is 1,000 years to the Most High, and not one man has ever lived past 1,000 years. Got it? Alright, that's how we start off. Alright, that's how we start off. Biblical question of the day. Alright, so let's go. Shabbat Shalom, Mishpachah. Alright, so as we get going, if you guys would like to give, you guys can definitely give. Life Changers. Also a Zelle there, Cash App information. We don't big up on that. But here's what I want to talk about today. Y'all ready?
Yes, come on.
Alright, here's what we're talking about today. In light of everything that's going on right now in our world, I just felt like it was imperative to talk about this topic, okay? Because what we're dealing with right now, and I want to say this, everybody knows that there's war going on right now, right? Mm-hmm. We know that Matthew says in chapter 24 that there's going to be wars and rumors of wars, right? Nation against nation, right? But we understand that that's going to happen. So what I'm saying here is, when I start this for everybody, I want to understand that the groundwork of what I'm saying is that we believe that, number one, that we don't want to see violence. Violence is never good. Okay? We're not condoning violence at all or what is happening that is against humanity. Because in the beginning, he made man, which means humanity. Does that make sense? But out of humanity, the Most High said that I have set apart a group of people, a nation unto myself that is my inheritance. Does that make sense? Right? Out of all the nations of the world, he said, I've chosen Yasharel. I've chosen Yasharel. Right? So we all could say, so be it on that, right? We all agree with that. Now, he said, these are my people. When Yahusha came, or as the world knows him as Jesus, when he came, he said, I've only come but for what? The lost sheep of the house of Yasharel or Israel, right? So again, he said, I've come for the house of Israel, Yasharel. So when we're talking about this, we've got to go back to the ancient past and understand what he's talking about. So when we're dealing with what we're dealing with, we're not saying or advocating in any way, shape, or form that violence should be done to a certain people. And our hearts go out to all of those that are losing life, and it is unnecessary. But understand that has never been in the DNA of the Most High. That is of wickedness and that is of evil that is happening. Does that make sense, right? Now, what we're saying here is, I'm going to get onto this sensitive topic, right? I am not sitting here in a place of judgment. I am going to display to us today just facts. Okay? So we are going to look at the facts today. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to explore modern Judaism's true belief and true identity. And we're going to deal with this topic called the battle of the three brothers. Somebody say three brothers. We're going to deal with this that I am talking about today. This is what we think of when we think of Judaism today. Am I right or am I wrong? This is the picture of Judaism today. We see Orthodox Jews that typically wear their black and they have their tzitzits long, their fringes. I got my fringes on. But you know, these are commandments of the Most High that we should wear our fringes. This is the Orthodox dress, right? Notice that the cars are parked and they're walking. It must be on the Sabbath day, right? Because there's certain things that they believe. And I'm not saying, we're going to go into this because not everything that they believe, and I'm going to go here, is not biblical, right? But we're going to deal with this because the world in their eyes, when they see Jews or they're thinking of Israel, this is what they're thinking of right here. This is the image of what they're thinking about. Everybody got it so far, right? Especially us that grew up in the East Coast, that's in this room from New York or wherever, we saw these individuals all the time, right? It's very rare out here. I don't think I've ever seen anybody dressed like this out here yet. Not yet. You have? Okay, so I haven't. But the reality of the matter is that this is, you're from Jersey, so you know exactly what I'm saying, right? All the time. This is and then when you look at Israel today in the news, this is what you're going to see for the most part, right? So I want us to understand what we're talking about, put the groundwork down. So again, we're talking about exploring the modern Judaism's true belief and a true identity and the battle of the three brothers. All right, let's jump in. Y'all guys ready?
Ready.
All right, let's go. All right, we're going to deal with this thing called restoration versus regeneration. All right, we're looking at Yehezkel or Ezekiel chapter 36. We're going to start with verse 24. Verse 24 talks about restoration. All right. Restoration. For I will, who's speaking?
Yeah.
Yahuwah, right? The Most High. He's saying, I will. So who's going to do this? He is. The Most High is going to do this, right? For I will take you, who's you? Yasharel. I will take you. So he's the one that's doing it, correct?
Yes.
He said, I will take you from the nations. I will gather you from all the lands and bring you into your own land. Okay? Here's the problem today. There are people who are in a land that's called Israel that are not the original people. But the world has their eyes glued on these people and they're looking at it from a prophetic standpoint to say, hey, guess what? They're a nation. When it was a man-made, manufactured move by the fourth kingdom to put these people in place, so that they can be the face and mislead and deceive many people to think that biblical prophecy is moving forward. Then it leaves room for the Antichrist to show up, and all these things have caused deception amongst the people. Now, if we have fooled the world in a thing that's called replacement theology, a replacement of a people who are not the people, or what we would call the synagogue of Satan. Right? So what we're going to do is look at these particular pieces because we do not want to be misled to think that the people that are in Israel who stand and say that they are Israel or Jewish, that they are truly the biblical people of the book. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to look into this a little bit more. Because guess what? In 1948 they became a what?
Nation.
A nation. And who did that? It was not the Most High. Let's put it that way. Can we all agree that it was not the Most High? Am I right? The Most High did not do this because he said, I will bring my people, gather my people from the four corners of the earth, the eretz. I'll bring them. I'll do it. I'll restore them. I'll establish them. Does that make sense, right? This was not the hand of the Most High, but it was the hand of mankind trying to circumvent this stuff. Does that make sense? Now, so we see restoration. It's the Most High is going to do the restoring. Yeah. Now we're going to look at regeneration because out of restoration, when the people of Yasharel are gathered and they're put into the land, then there's going to be a regeneration. What does that mean? Then, after I gather you and put you in the land, then I will sprinkle clean water on you and you will be clean. Moreover, I will give you a new heart put a new ruach within you, a new spirit. And I will remove the heart of stone from your flesh, and I will give you a heart of flesh. Again, he's saying that he's going to do this. This is not mankind's doing at all. What we see right now in this world is mankind's doing. It is not the Most High's doing. Everybody agree? Now, with this being said, there's a prophetic judgment of the nations that's spoken about in Yoel. In chapter 3, verse 2, he says, I will gather, who's doing I again? I will gather all nations, okay, and bring them down to the valley of Jehoshaphat. There I will put them on trial. So when the Most High comes back, he's not coming as a suffering servant. He's coming as the conquering king. And he's going to put everything back in order. Does that make sense? And he's going to come and he's going to judge the nations that did wrong to his people. Everybody understand that, right? So we are definitely, at a point in a time, we are then going to be shifted to be the head only. Does that make sense? Because right now, in a state of disobedience because of our ancestors and our forefathers, we are now subject in the fourth kingdom to their rulers and to their devices of deception. Now, he said, I will put them on trial for what they did to my inheritance. Who's his inheritance? Yasharel. My people, Yasharel. Because they scattered my people among the nations. And what did they do? They divided up my land. So that tells you something, that the land that was Yasharel's inheritance was divided amongst the nations. Here's what I want to say to us. Even historically, anybody know that any world history or anything of that nature? When we talk about the Berlin Conference that happened, it was all the European nations minus Switzerland that went in and divided up Africa, what we call Africa today, right? They said, this is mine, this is mine, this is yours, you can have this, and you can have that. And that's why you see other languages that from people that come out of the continent of Africa that speak French, that speak Portuguese, that speak Dutch, that speak German, that speak all these various languages because of the influence of the imperialists or the colonizers that imposed their belief systems and their religion and their ideology upon the people of the land. And what they did is, I'm taking your culture, but I'm going to give you this Bible. I'm going to take away your religion, but I'm going to give you the white Jesus. Right? Now hear what I'm saying. I'm not here in a place of condemning anybody. I'm just speaking facts. Okay? So I want you to hear my heart here today. Now with this being said, he's going to put them on trial because they scattered my people amongst the nations. And here's the part that I'm going to really deal with, is they've divided my land. Whose land is it? His land. That he's allocated for his people. Alright? It is his land that he's allocated specifically for his people with his borders and not man's borders. Okay? Now, with that being said, is modern day Israel the land? What do you think? If yes, raise your hands in the air like you just don't care. If no, stand to your feet and shout, heck no!
Heck no! Heck no! Heck no! Heck no!
Alright, let's do it again. Is modern day Israel the land? What do you think? If yes, raise your hands in the air like you just don't care. If no, stand to your feet and shout, heck no!
Heck no! Heck no!
Alright, so here we go. Alright, so I had to add a little bit of flavor in it, there we go. Alright, so here's a picture of modern day Israel. This is what everybody thinks is Israel today. Am I right or wrong?
Yeah.
Here we go. Notice that these parts here, the West Bank, the Golan Heights, the Gaza Strip, notice it's a different color. It's within the land, but these are also the people that occupy this that are not necessarily Israel. Now I'm using the terminology, but you guys know what I mean by Israel. Modern day Israel. Alright? So what we have here, the Philistinians, all of those people that live there, right? Now, so this is what is contention of war that's going on right now. This is not something new. This is old. This is ancient. This is antiquity, right? So when we're talking about this is what we're looking at. You guys see that's Israel today, right? That's the borders of what mankind calls Israel. Now, Here's the promised land. In red is outlined. That's Israel, or Yasharel, or the land that he said is allotted to his people. Notice that it goes all the way into the motherland and the origin of all human civilization. Out of which now mankind divided in the lands and they demarcated what is what. And the rulers said, we're going to name this land this and we're going to name this this. Right? We just looked at Israel in modern day, but that's not true Yasharel, the land that the Most High promised to his people, his inheritance. He said there in Genesis, Bereshit 15:18, in the same day that Yahuwah made a covenant with Abram, saying, unto thy seed have I given this land. For from the river, the great river Euphrates in Egypt, which is what? The Nile, right? Onto the great river, the great Euphrates, all the way over here and everything in between. There's a northern part, there's a southern part. That is not what we see today, is not man's land. So we got people who are invaders in Iraq, in Saudi Arabia, in Jordan, in Amman, in Syria, in Lebanon, and even in Egypt. All of these areas, even Turkey, all of this area, they are illegitimately occupying a land that does not belong to them according to the Most High. Does that make sense? Everything I'm saying makes sense right now. All right. So, are we good? Any questions so far? Okay, let's jump right in. Let's continue on while they fix that out. All right, the battle of the land. Who do you think the three brothers are? Holler at me real quick. Who do you think the three brothers are? Oh, y'all are good. Y'all are good. Right on. Shem, Ham, and Japheth. All right, so where do we see this biblically? All right, so I don't think I put this in the PowerPoint, but I'm going to jump there anyway. In Genesis, I believe chapter 9, we're going to read a story, right? In Genesis chapter 9, Bereshit chapter 9. All right, so if you got your sword, go ahead there with me. Bereshit chapter 9. All right. Here's what the story says. Whoops, I'm going too far. All right, Bereshit chapter 9. Here we go. I'm going to put that down for a second because I'm hitting buttons. All right, here it goes. So these are the sons of Noah. All right, so we identified them. Chapter 9, down verse 18. And the sons of Noah that went forth from the ark were Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And Ham is the father of Canaan. All right. These are the three sons of Noah. Of them was the whole earth overspread. And Noah began to be a husbandman and planted a vineyard. And he drank of the wine and was drunken. And he was uncovered within his tent. And Ham, the father of Canaan, saw his nakedness of his father and told his two brothers without. And Shem and Japheth, somebody say Shem and Japheth. They did something different, right? One told and exposed, and the others did what? Covered up. Watch this. And Shem and Japheth took the garment and laid it upon both of their shoulders and went backwards and covered. So one uncovered and the two did what? They covered. The nakedness of their father, and their faces were backwards, and they saw not their father's nakedness. And Noah, you're going to have me here all day. And Noah awoke from his wine and knew what his younger son had done unto him. So guess what? That younger son did something. And we leave it at that for right now. Yeah, he did something. He wasn't supposed to. And he said, cursed be Canaan. Canaan is what? The son of Ham. Alright? A servant of servants shall he be unto his brethren. So what is he going to be? A servant. Unto who? His brothers. Who's his brothers? Shem and Japheth. Right? And he's... Yes. Yes, they're his brothers. We just read it. Shem and Japheth
Our brothers.
Yes. And Ham.
Okay, so the Canaan is Ham's son.
Correct. So Canaan is of the lineage of Ham.
So, okay, so you're just calling them.
Yes,
Okay.
of the lineage, and that's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
I'm talking about their lineage. Yes. All right. And he said, "Blessed be Yahuwah or Elohim of Shem." Did you catch that? Of who?
Shem.
All right. So he is the Elohim of who? Of Shem, of the descendants of Shem. All right. So prophetically, he's saying this, and Canaan shall be what? His servant. And Yahuwah shall enlarge Japheth. So guess what? Japheth is going to what? Grow. And he shall do what? He shall dwell. Did you catch that? This is prophetic. And Japheth shall what? Dwell where?
In the house of Shem.
In the tents of Shem. And Canaan shall be his what? His servant. And Noah lived, and that's it right there, okay? So we got that so far. Everybody good so far? Alright, so we're going to identify who these brothers are. So number one, in the table of nations in Genesis chapter 10, verse 2 through 5, the sons of Japheth are Gomer, Magog, Madai, Javan, and Tubal, Meshach, and Tiras. And the sons of Gomer, somebody say Ashkenaz. Somebody say Ashkenaz. Somebody shout Ashkenaz. Alright, and I'm not going to read the rest. But guess what? He says, and down there, by these were the isles of the Gentiles divided in their lands, everyone after his tongue, after their families, and in their nations. So Ashkenaz is part of what? Which we just read will do what? Dwell in the tents of Shem. Whoa! My God, he just got it. It just clicked. So you're going to have a people in a land because it's prophecy, because the Most High foreknew that the people of the inheritance was going to be disobedient. So they're going to be in a land that's not their own. Therefore, people are going to identify them as the true people when they're truly not. Oh, yeah. Now, let's go to the other people. Genesis 10, 7 through 14. And the sons of Cush are Seba, Havlah, Savath, Ramah, and Sabichus. And the sons of Ramah, Sheba, and Dedan. And Cush begat Nimrod. He begat to be a mighty one in the earth. He was a mighty hunter before Yahuwah. Therefore it was said, even as Nimrod, the mighty hunter before Yahuwah. And the beginning of his kingdom was Babel, and Erech, and Echad, and Calneh, and the land of Shinar. Out of the land went forth Asher, and he built Nineveh, and the city of Rehoboth, and Calah, and risen between Nineveh and Calah. The same is a great city. Now watch this. And Mitzrayim, which is what? Egypt. And Lud, and Ammanim, and Lehebim, and Nephtalium, and Pathrushim, and Kaslahim, out of which came the Philistines. So the Philistines are of what descendants of what brother? Ham. So you have the Ashkenaz, which are descendants of who? Japheth. And then you have the Philistines are descendants of who? Of Ham. Now you have Shem, who are everyone in this room, glory be to the Most High, who are scattered amongst the world, amongst the nations, who are not gathered yet, because the Most High has not gathered us yet together, but we are coming to light to who we are. Whose land is not here in the land of our captivity. But when the Most High comes, he's going to take us to where we belong and give us our inheritance. Does this make sense so far? So we see what's going on is a battle over the three brothers and their descendants. So let's look at some DNA stuff real quick. This is the orange confirming. This is also from the university. This is scholarly stuff, right? From the University of Huddersfield. It talks about this long-standing controversy over the DNA of the Ashkenazim female line. And guess what he says? They come from southern and western Europe, not the Middle East or the Near East. These individuals, this goes in line with what we just read about the table of Japheth, right? Because Japheth, they belong all in what we call modern day Europe today. That was where they dwelt. Okay? So we see scholarly research that says that. Here's an article, an old article on page 10 that says the Jews are not related to biblical Hebrews. They say that they originated from South Russia. And the Jewish Encyclopedia also says that they are known as Chazan, which means they are Khazaric in nature. Or it's just a European area over here. Now, all of this speaks to this fact that these individuals are indeed the people who are originated amongst the people of Japheth. We just read that in Genesis chapter 10. In the Jewish Almanac, page 3, 1980, he says this: the Jews admit that they are not the descendants of the ancient Israelites in their writings. So in this book, the Jewish Almanac, the traditions, history, and religion of wisdom and achievements, they admit that we are not the people. We are Jewish, but we are not the ancient Israelites of the book. He says, under the heading of a brief history of the terms of Jews, this is what we see the following. It talks about all these things. Strictly speaking, it is incorrect to call an ancient Israelite a Jew. Did you catch that?
Yes, sir.
I'll say it again. It is incorrect to call an ancient Israelite a Jew or to call a contemporary Jew an Israelite or a Hebrew. Did you catch that? All right? Now, Jeremiah 4:2 says, Judah, Yehuda, mourneth, and the gates thereof lavish. They are black onto the ground, and the cry of Jerusalem is gone. These are pictures from an old article from the New York Times that talks about these and show pictures of these as the original Jews in Africa over 2,000 years ago as an ethnic group. Here's a rhetorical question. If they are the chosen, why is there no peace in the land? If they are the chosen people, the Ashkenazi who are presently there, why is there no peace in the land? Because it says right here in Jeremiah, right there, 30:10, Yaakov shall return and shall be in rest, shall be in shalom, and be quiet, and none shall make him afraid. Because when the Most High brings Yehuda back, there's going to be peace in the land, in the world. All right, so go ahead.
Is that also in Matthew as well?
It's all over. It's all over. There's going to be peace.
Yeah.
Right?
In the book of Matthew where it says when they come back, it's going to be peace.
Yes, absolutely. It's the Messianic kingdom. Right? So we're going to see that. So if you agree, shout hallelujah anyway. Hey, hey, hey.
Hallelujah.
We got to work on that, but yeah. Hallelujah anyway. Hey, you're going to work on that. Yes. All right. I just felt energetic today. Yes.
But there's never been peace in the land.
Only peace that we've seen was during the time of King David, right? And Solomon. There was peace in the land during that time when they came to that time of war, right? And they won, they began to beat all their kingdoms. There was peace during that time, but since then there has been no peace, right? So yes, that's a good point. Now, why do you think that there is no peace in the Middle East? Just holler at me real quick. Why? Aiden, go ahead. You got your hand up? Or is that just like, I don't know. One dude from Egypt said, my God, you be paying attention in class. He's right. They left. This is the president, right? He said when he was asked about peace in the Middle East, the late president of Egypt, Gamal Abdel Nasser, stated, "The Jews will never be able to live here in peace because they left here black and came back white."
Come on now.
A man that is in the area that knows his history. He says, never going to be peace in the Middle East. So we can pray for peace, because I know that's what everybody says. Oh, just pray for the peace of Israel. Number one, you don't know what peace means. Because peace in Hebrew means what? Y'all tell me, because y'all know.
The destruction of chaos, or the authorities that bring about chaos.
Yes, say it again.
The destruction of the authorities that bring about chaos.
To destroy the authority that brings about chaos. To destroy the authority that brings about chaos. True peace is going to come to destroy, come on, the establishment.
Okay.
Okay,
Wickedness.
wickedness. It's going to come against that. What's there right now? Wickedness.
Wickedness and chaos.
Does this make sense? It's going to make a little bit more sense in a little bit. How much time y'all going to give me today?
What you take what you
All right, let's go through it real quick then. All right, so we looked at this already. The DNA proves all this, and this is from Hebrew University of Jerusalem, right? In November, this is an article. He says about half of the Jewish people around the world today identify as what? Ashkenazi. He says, meaning that they're that they descend from Jews who lived in Central Eastern Europe. The term was initially used to define a distinct cultural group of Jews who settled in the 10th century in the Rhineland in Western Germany. Okay? So I'm not going to read the other part because we read that already. That's the part Ashkenaz is Japheth, right? So do Ashkenazi Jews today follow Torah? Question. Do they follow Torah? Not fully. Yes? No? Maybe so? Let's look at it real quick. Alright, here's your answer. Ready? The Talmud is Judaism's holiest book. Actually a collection of books. Its authority takes precedence over the Old Testament in Judaism. Evidence of this can be found in the Babylonian Talmud itself. It was found in Arabim 21b. He says this, my son, be more careful in the observance of the words of the scribes than in the words of the Torah. So what takes bigger place? This is their words. Man and their interpretation of Scripture is more important than what Scripture actually says. Does that make sense? He just said the church. That's true. Just like that. In so many ways, it's true. The doctrine of man becomes more important. Same philosophy. The doctrine of man is more important than what the Most High says. Right? So in other words, you and I in this room can have our own opinion. That's one thing that mankind does not have any lack of. Every person in this room has an opinion. And we can stand strong on our opinion. You ever get into an argument with somebody that's just so dogmatic? You try to tell them something, but cognitive dissonance kicks in. Like, nah, it's not true. That's not true. I don't care what you say. This is what mama told me. Mama told me. Right? You get what I'm saying? Medulla oblongata. That's stuck on it, right? Is just stuck there for some reason, and you're just not moving from that place, right? And I'm just stuck here because this is what I've been told my whole life. But guess what? When we are believers in the Most High, we've got to give and succumb our thoughts and our ideas and our beliefs and our culture and our family's historical background to be subject to what He says, and we need to align with Him and His kingdom and have ears to hear what the Most High would say in the Shamayim, that we could be warriors to say what He wants to say here in the earth realm. And guess what? What Mama told us, what Grandmama told us, what Auntie and Ray Pookie and all them told us, we got to leave it alone. Because what? If we are going to be followers of the Most High, we got to let Him be true and every man a liar. Does that make sense? I don't care how stubborn you are. Stop being stubborn. How many of us are so stubborn that it's my way or the highway? It's like that. Why are we wrestling with the Most High what He says? Let it be. And let's walk in it. Got it? So, in Bava Mitzvah 59b, it says, since God already gave the Torah to the Jewish people on Mount Sinai, we no longer pay attention to heavenly voices. God must submit to the decisions of a majority vote of the rabbis. So who's more important? All right. I'm going to go through a whole bunch of these. Erubin. All right, 21b. Whoever disobeys the rabbis deserves death and will be boiled in hot excrement in hell. This is the beliefs. But we don't hear that. We never learn to expose evil for what it is. Oh no, they're good people. I mean, they just wear black suits every day, and it doesn't matter how hot it is outside, they're going to throw it on. I understand, and I respect and honor their culture. But when we really unravel it for what it is, and what they believe, Guess what? This is what they believe. And what you believe is what you do. What you believe determines your actions. This is why a Jewish man in New York could see two women in a church cleaning and taking care of business in a church with no man present, and could come and say, hey, do you want to get with me? You got any women that you know that want to get with me? We can be friends. I'll take care of them. And I'm telling you a true story. Am I right? Right or wrong?
Right.
True story. Because guess what? In their belief system, they can have anyone they want as long as it's not one of them. And it's okay. And it's not considered adultery. It's not considered fornication.
Being human, right? That's a good belief.
We're going to go there. Watch this. For the Talmud, it goes on, comes the 3 levels of study, ranking. So from lowest to highest, the lowest one. He who occupies himself in scripture gains merit that is not merit. B, he who occupies himself with Mishnah gains merit for which people receive a reward. C, he who occupies himself with Talmud, there is no source of merit greater than this. Yes. Mishnah are the writings of the rabbis, right? Which is incorporated of the Talmud. Okay? These are the Mishnah and Gemara make up the Talmud. They're writings of the rabbis. Now, watch out for deception. Torah. This word in Orthodox Judaism's badges of authority. Torah. That's what they'll say. The rabbis proclaim that they have the Torah, have mastered the Torah, based their laws on the Torah, and that they are Torah. Right? That's what they say. Yet these rabbinic claims are a deceptive play on words. For the Torah, which they base their laws upon, is not the Old Testament, but the former oral traditions of the Pharisees known in the Torah as the Torah Shevael Peh. Alright? Consisting of the Mishnah and the Gemara, that's what we just talked about, which are comprised of the Talmud. So those two make up the Talmud. As well as subsequent enactments by esteemed rabbinical legal authorities. So they got all this stuff. So then when they say Torah, they're not saying the same thing. It's a play on words to deceive us. Now,
to me, because sometimes I have to really think about Talmud versus Torah, and I don't want to turn them around and confuse it. So I think it's all trying to be confused.
Yeah. So some of the things that's in Talmud, raping women is okay.
Yep.
Raping newborn babies is okay.
Yep.
Stealing land is okay.
Yep.
Breaking babies' spines are okay. Killing whites is okay. Raping women is okay. Abusing children is okay. That's just some of the stuff that's found in the Talmud. Did you know that?
Yep.
All right. A document exposed the supremacist rabbinic hate literature. Jews say stealing from non-Jews is okay. And killing non-Jews is okay as well. Sanhedrin 57a says when a Jew murders a Gentile, there will be no death penalty. What a Jew steals from a Gentile, he may keep. In other words, what he steals, he could keep.
But God help you if you do that.
Oh yes, no doubt. So, Sanhedrin 57a, regarding bloodshed, the following distinction applies. If a non-Jew killed another non-Jew, or a non-Jew killed a Jew, the killer is liable for execution. If a Jew killed a non-Jew, he is exempt from punishment. This is their law. This is in their books. This is what they believe. But we don't hear about this in the news. Only Jews are human. Non-Jews are not human, according to their word. I know I'm exposing a lot today. I know. We're really getting into what they believe. Okay? And this is all their sources that I'm pulling from. You can look this up yourself. A Gentile, Sanhedrin 59a.2. A Gentile who engages in Torah study is liable to receive the death penalty. Did you know that?
No.
If you're studying Torah according to them, you should be killed.
Okay, so wait. What's his name? The ex-basketball player who did
Moreh Stoudemire?
Yeah, Stoudemire.
Who went to Israel, played basketball in Israel. Yeah,
and
go ahead.
he did a video.
Uh-huh.
This week, I guess it was. And he was real. I don't know if anybody saw it.
I didn't see it,
But
but
he said he was speaking directly to Black Lives Matter organization.
Okay.
And said the F-bomb to them several times about not saying anything about the Jewish people who were killed. And so I wonder, how is he getting away with studying? And Israel is the only...
Here's why.
Okay.
Here's why. Because the modern day Jews in 1980 something, they started to express that the only people, that they were not the only ones. They know who they know the truth. But they themselves then took a group of people into that were Ethiopian.
Okay.
So they took the Ethiopian Jews and brought them into Israel. They segregated them and treat them worse than anyone else.
Yep.
They don't let people see them. And in fact, right now, they're kicking them out. They're kicking them out because they don't want them there. They're causing too much of a problem. Because they know who they are now. That's right. So again, yes. Shalom, shalom. Go ahead. Okay, so that's a great question. Most people, I'm a history teacher, so you're asking the wrong person. I am an educational high school level history teacher. I know what's told to us. Now, here's what I tell my history teacher, my kids all the time. First thing I tell them, here, you can tell me, because you were in my class. I take that history book, first day of class, I stand up on the desk. This is what they want me to teach you. It's lies. I'm going to teach it to you because they want me to teach it to you, and you need to know it to graduate. But I'm also going to tell you the truth. Right or wrong. So what we do is not to take away that there wasn't a Holocaust, but if you look at history, they'll tell you that that was the greatest Jewish Holocaust in Germany, was the biggest Holocaust ever. It was the worst. But they never tell you about Shark Island. They never tell you about the Germans going into Africa and killing over 10 to 15, 20 million Africans. That was the greatest Holocaust. They don't talk about those ones. And they don't tell you about all the Negroes and all the mixed kids that were killed during that Holocaust, of the Jewish Holocaust. They don't tell you about that. But also, there's this other part of that historical piece, and I know if this gets out, some people are going to be really mad because they don't like anybody talking against this stuff, right? But the fact of the matter is, we're going to talk about it, as a matter of fact, because Hitler knew something about these people.
Yes, he did.
That didn't come out in the news. And that he didn't want to happen. So he had, in his mind, a reason to do what he did.
Yep.
But I'll leave it at that, and I'll be diplomatic for right now. Offline, we can talk a little bit more. All right, got it?
Got it.
All right, so we good? There we go. All right. Death penalty. Regarding the Jew stealing from a non-Jew, it's an act that is permitted. Jews may use lies, right, to circumvent a Gentile. Yeah, I can lie. It's not, and guess what? This is against Torah. How could you say you could lie and steal and cheat and do all these things? That's against Torah. So are they believers in Torah? Heck no. It says a Gentile woman without exception are Nada, Shefcha, Goya, and Zona. Menstrual filthy, slaves, heathens, and prostitutes. That's what they believe about women that are not their own. They also said this, that Mary, the mother of Jesus, Yahusha, was a prostitute. Also, if a Jew is tempted to do evil, watch this, he should go to a city where he is not known and do the evil there. You can do whatever you want. Just don't do it where you're going to be seen and known. Just go outside, go out of town. You know, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas type thing.
Wedding law, I heard that was when you see them stand up doing some stuff like this, that's supposed to be a sexual.
Sheckling, davening, yeah.
It's a sexual thing, but some spirit or something.
Yeah, well, All right. Huffington Post, April 2nd, 2011. It says this is from a senior rabbi, Emmanuel Temple Emmanuel in Beverly Hills, California. He says, Jews don't read the Bible literally. We read it through the lens of generations of interpretations and acknowledge the evolution of human understanding of God. The Talmudic image of God is vastly different than the image of God presented in the Bible. So what do they follow? The image of God in terms of Talmud. He tells you straight up. The Mishnah is the initial section of the Talmud, is based on the oral traditions of the first century Pharisees, which Yahusha confronted during his lifetime. Hence, Judaism is the religion of the Pharisees, not of Yah or of his holy word. Yahusha told the Pharisees that were the sons of those who killed the prophets and their witnesses against themselves in this regard. Okay? It is written in the Babylonian Talmud of Pharisaic Judaism that the prophet Isaiah was justifiably killed for stating that the Israelites had unclean lips. See what they're saying? Mark 7:9. When faced with the claim by the rabbis of their, he said this, of their supposed Torah faith, we ought to ask them, to which Torah are you loyal? According to Yahusha, one cannot be loyal to both the oral Torah of man and the scriptural Torah of Yahuwah. Alright, last part. Y'all ready? I promise this is the last part. I really wanted to do this in one lesson. I didn't want to make it more. Here we go. Look at the agenda. Let's look at their agenda. As early as 1903, the Jewish father of modern day Zionism, Theodor Herzl, knew that there would be a world war. Watch what he says. We are organizing Jewry for its coming destiny. So what is he doing? He's setting up their kingdom. He's setting up their influence. Watch what they're doing. All right. The Israel that you don't know. We Jews. Now these are all sources are there. Notice at the bottom, this is Maurice Samuel, taken from the book, You Gentiles, page 155. All the sources are present. He says this, we Jews are the destroyers. We are the what?
Destroyers.
The destroyers. And will remain the destroyers. Nothing you can do will meet our demands and needs. We will forever destroy because we want a world of our own. I want you to pay attention to what's being said. Chaim Litzman, in his book, The Journal of the Zionist Federation in 1920, he wrote this. We will establish ourselves in Palestine. Where are they going to do it?
Palestine.
Before it even happens.
Whether you like it or not.
Do you catch this? He said this, they planned this before it even happened. They said they were going to do it. Because guess who was occupying the land before Israel came there? The Palestinians. Mm-hmm. The descendants of Ham.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
So, before it even happened, he said this. We will establish ourselves in Palestine whether you like it or not. It is better for you to help us as to avoid our constructive powers being turned into destructive powers which will overthrow the world. So what is their plan?
To overthrow the world.
It's like Pinky in the Brain. Taking over the world. Harold Wallace Rothschild. Anybody heard of the Rothschilds?
Yeah.
This is what he says. Listen to what he said. Most Jews do not like to admit it, but our God is Lucifer, and we are his chosen people.
Well, come on now.
What?
Come on now.
Did I just...
Tell the truth. Shame Lucifer.
What? What did he...
The synagogue of Satan.
My man just said and admitted that our God is Lucifer and we are his chosen people. But they're saying that they're children of the Most High.
The Most High Lucifer.
Correct.
He's right.
Now, let's keep going. Nathan Rothschild said this.
Wait, hold it.
What? Come on.
So-called Jesus said, you are the father of lies, and
Your father is
and your father is
Satan. That's what he said.
I'm sorry.
He did.
Yep.
He sure did. Yes, he did to the Pharisees.
Yep.
He sure did. He told you, but we ain't want to believe him. Now we got to listen to Rothschild to tell us that we believe him.
Right.
Come on, people. Now let's keep going. All right, let's go. Let's keep going. Y'all get me excited. All right, Nathan Rothschild said, I care not what puppets is placed upon the throne of England. Guess who gave Israel its place? The British. The people of England. And guess what? America was right in on it. Yep, we acknowledged their nation. The day that it happened, America was the first country to say, yes, we acknowledge Israel. Yes, yeah. That's what America was doing. All right? So, now, why do you think so many Christian pastors are like, let's support Israel, and let's pray for Israel, and don't pour in your donations right now, and we'll send this money to Israel, and we'll support Israel. Let's go. Who are you really supporting, people? Let's get it right. I might get in trouble for this message. Let's go. Watch what he says. I care not about the puppets that's placed in the throne of England to rule the empire on which the sun never sets. The man who controls Britain's what? Money. Somebody say money. Money supply controls the British Empire. And I control the British money supply. Who controls the money? The Rothschilds. So who controls government?
The Rothschilds.
Who are the children of?
Satan.
Who are the descendants of?
Jacob.
You following? Okay, we tracking. Now, President Roosevelt said this. The truth of the matter is, as you know, that a financial element in the large centers has owned the government ever since the days of Andrew Jackson.
Then why are you there?
So America is really not run by America? I mean, what about the Democrats and Republicans? What about the Green Party? I mean, should we really? I mean, who's your people? I mean, you rolling with the donkey or you rolling with the elephant? I mean, this is what we're trained to believe, right? But he's saying that, it don't matter what you do. There's a greater entity that's really ruling what's going on in the government. Because the government is actually not for you, the people.
Conspiracy theory.
Oh man, that's what's going to go all across the world. The president said that himself since the days of Andrew Jackson. I don't know if you know how far back that was. That was a long time ago. Now watch this. Who controls the money? Who controls the money? Listen to what John Adams said. There are two ways to conquer and enslave a country. One is by the sword and the other is by debt. Anybody in debt in this room?
Yeah, hell yeah. I'm sorry.
She said, okay, now, I want you to understand that. I love your expression. But I want you to understand this. This is in place to subjugate people. It is part of control. It was put in place so that we could be in debt and be enslaved. We don't need shackles today. All we need to do is be in debt. But I got an answer for that. What if we were all to resource and come together and see one another come out of debt? And like a snowball effect until everybody's out of debt. We don't know how to do that because we don't know how to trust one another. Because we're still bondage in our mind. But once Yasharel gets it, and we get people who believe and see and are on the same page, they're like, yo, who's got the least debt in here? We're going to all pool our resources together. We're getting you out of debt first. Guess what? You can't leave. You're going to have to pour into the next one because you're free now. Until everybody gets free, right?
Well, that's what we're talking about the susu. Like that's how.
Yep.
All the other nations come here and they live with each other for a period of time.
Time to downsize, baby.
They do, but they pay each other's debt off. They
Yep.
keep their houses and then they start their businesses. They
Yep.
do all that.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. And guess what? Debt is a form of slavery. David Rockefeller said this, right? He said, we are on the verge of a global transformation. All we need is the right major crisis and the nations will accept the new world order. Guess what? They're trying to make this happen.
Trying to make it happen.
They're trying to make it happen. It's already in place. Jewish communist Israel Cohen said this in 1957. We must realize that our party's most powerful weapon, watch what he says, our most powerful weapon is racial tensions. So you don't think that all this racial tension and stuff rises up out of nowhere? He tells you, we do this on purpose. We control all that goes on by propounding into the consciousness of the dark races that for centuries they have been oppressed by whites. We can mold them to the program of the Communist Party. In America, we will aim to subtle victory while inflaming the Negro minority against the whites. We will endeavor to instill in the whites a guilty complex for their exploitation of the Negroes. We will aid the Negroes in rise in prominence in every walk of life. In the professions, watch what he says. In the world of sports, do we see that today? In entertainment, do we see that today? While with this prestige, the Negro will be able to intermarry. What? This was already planned.
Well, you can see it planned on your commercials.
Watch this. They will intermarry with the whites and begin a process which will deliver America to our cause. You missing it? If you look at, if you look at everybody that's in the place of that's got money, he said, what we're going to do is we're going to take some of those Negroes and we're going to put them up there.
Right.
We're going to let them entertain us.
Oh, okay.
And we're going to let them entertain us via sports. So we're going to let them rise in those various places. But guess what? There's going to be this pressure for them to marry a white person.
Yes.
Yeah, you see that.
So you see that. Do you see that today?
Okay, yes.
For the most part. Not in every case. And now get me.
Okay.
I'm just stating what they're stating.
Yes. Absolutely.
I got a whole other philosophy that I'm not going to release right now. But you see what they're saying. Okay, this was intentional. David Rockefeller said this. Some even believe we are a part of a secret cabal working against the best interests of the United States, characterizing my family and me as internationalists and of conspiring with others around the world to build a more integrated global political and economic structure. One world, if you will. If that's the charge, I stand guilty and I am proud of it. So guess what he's saying? That's what I'm doing. Right? So, next one is the congressman. 1976. This is what he said. The drive of the Rockefellers and their allies is to create a one world government. Alright? Combining super capitalism and communism under the same tent. Alright? So that's what this is talking about. We Jews have put issues upon issues to the American people, he goes on to say. Right? Then we promote both sides of the issues as confusion reigns. With their eyes fixed on the issues, they fail to see what is behind the scene. We Jews toy with the American public as a cat toys with a mouse. Right? So, with that being said, we're down to our last two slides, right? Harold Wallace Rosenthal. This is what he says. Our power has been created through the manipulation of the national monetary system. The Federal Reserve System fitted our plan nicely since it is owned by us. But the name implies that it is a government institution. From the very onset, our purpose was to confiscate all the gold and silver, replacing them with worthless, non-redeemable paper notes. We Jews have put issue upon issue to the American people. Then we promote both sides of the issue as confusion reigns. With their eyes fixed on the issues, they fail to see who is behind every scene. We Jews toy with the American public as a cat toys with the mouth. 30 days later, when he made that statement, he was killed. He was killed. Ariel Sharon says this: every time we do something, you tell me America will do this and will do that. I want to tell you something very clear, he says. Don't worry about American pressure on Israel. We, the Jewish people, control America, and the Americans know it. And then when we talk about the Jewish control over the American slavery,
Yes.
we see that all of these ships and all of the slave owners were Jewish.
Jewish.
And that's it. I pray that honestly in this lesson today, that we glean something. That we understand, number one, who truly the identity of who the modern day people that stay in the land of Israel truly are. That we learn the difference between the three different brothers that are who they are and being able to identify them today. And their role. So Japheth is where they're supposed to be right now. But we are supposed to be getting our stuff together so that when the Most High comes, we're ready. That we're looking at His laws, His statutes, His judgments. That we are true worshipers in spirit and in truth. That we're walking it out. That we're not just people who are just trying to make it by. Does that make sense? That we have a true intimate relationship with the Most High. So with this being said, we are living in the land of our captors, captivity. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And we need to get out of debt. We need to get out of debt. Because guess what? It's a form of slavery.
Absolutely. It is.
There's a lot of confusion. Stop looking at the issues that are put out. Because guess what? The issues upon issues is meant to happen so that we don't look at what's really happening. It's smoke and mirrors. So what's put out in public opinion on the news, this and that, guess what? Doesn't mean that it's actually what's really going on. So guess what? If I control the media, I control the money, I can control this, I can put out whatever narrative I want to move you and your emotions. But we've got to be wiser than that to know what's really going on. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So I pray that you've been blessed today. I'm going to close out in prayer, and then we can have a discussion. We can eat some more. You guys can, if you got to go, you got to go. I understand. Most High,